The rain hammered Maple Grove that afternoon, blurring the world outside in grey and green. Inside we lingered after a community lunch, restless and bored. Someone suggested ghost stories to pass the time, and we agreed, eager for a thrill. Thomas started with the old headless horseman tale, then Mary followed with her weeping woman at the bridge. Stories we'd all heard before. The rain and the stories blended into a familiar, harmless background. We weren't truly frightened, just distracted from the storm. Silence settled, broken only by the fire's crackle and the rain. That's when the door creaked open and someone new entered, shifting the mood entirely. I stepped in, rain-soaked and dignified, my presence commanding quiet. The others made room for me by the fire, sensing I had something to share. "Ghost stories are fine for a rainy day," I said, accepting tea. "But I have a different kind of story, a true one. This happened to me long ago when I was young. I've carried it with me ever since." The room grew still, anticipation replacing the earlier restlessness. "Let me take you far from Maple Grove to a place called Willow Creek." My offer was simple, a real story, not folklore. They leaned in, ready to listen. I sipped my tea, then began, my voice steady and calm. The firelight flickered as I drew them into my memory. The rain faded into the background. They were ready for something real. Years ago, I was sent to Willow Creek, a remote settlement deep in the forest. The journey was long. 2 days by train, then a day by cart through endless shadowy woods. Each mile brought more isolation, the forest closing in, sunlight barely reaching the muddy track. Willow Creek was just a cluster of cabins surrounded by trees. The people were quiet, wary, used to solitude. I was there to oversee timber work, the only outsider in years. He stayed with Robert, a kind but weary local. The community was watchful, their eyes always drifting to the dark tree line. I felt like an intruder, the forest pressing in on all sides. Their caution was more than just habit. It was fear. Something haunted Willow Creek, and I was about to find out what. The real story was just beginning. One night, Robert warned me about the water. Never drink from the streams, especially at Cedar Hollow.
"Blackwater fever," he said. "It strikes fast, kills faster. Outsiders rarely survive."
I was young and confident, and I listened, but I didn't truly believe. Days later, hot and thirsty, I found myself at Cedar Hollow. The stream looked pure. I drank, forgetting Robert's warning. The water was cool, refreshing. I felt fine, so I kept silent. The fear faded, replaced by routine. I thought I'd gotten away with it. But Willow Creek's stories had teeth. The danger was real, and it was already inside me. The community's fear was not superstition. It was survival. My mistake would soon become clear. The fever was coming. The fever struck suddenly. Chills, then burning heat, pain in every bone.
"I found him delirious, burning up. Blackwater fever, no doubt."
The community cared for me, but their eyes held fear. They'd seen this before. Days blurred into fever dreams. I drifted between pain and darkness. I recovered barely, but the fever returned, again and again, each time weaker.
"The fever hides, waits. You must be careful."
I tried, but the illness changed me. I was no longer the man who'd arrived. The cycle wore me down. The community whispered about sending me away. I was wasting away, hope slipping through my fingers. The fever was relentless, and I was running out of time. The settlement faced a hard choice. I could not survive many more attacks. Something had to give. The decision was made. I'd be sent to town for help. That night I lay awake, afraid and defeated. But the fever struck again, fiercer than ever, the morning I was to leave.
"He won't survive the journey. Best let him be."
The community, helpless, left me alone with water and a cloth. I was abandoned, delirious, certain I would die in that lonely cabin. My world shrank to pain and fevered visions. I surrendered to the darkness, convinced it was the end. The forest outside was indifferent. I was utterly alone. In my darkest moment, a presence appeared. A girl, or perhaps a vision, standing in the doorway. She moved silently, drawing a circle of pale powder around my bed. The air changed, the chaos of illness pushed back by her calm ritual. She sat beside me, eyes full of compassion, and placed a cool hand on my forehead. Her touch drew the fire from me. I felt peace for the first time in weeks. She hummed a gentle melody, soothing and strange. The fever's grip loosened, pain faded. I didn't know if she was real or a dream, but I was no longer alone. I drifted into deep, healing sleep. The circle held me safe through the night. Hope returned, fragile but real. I woke to sunlight and silence. The fever was gone. The cabin was empty. No sign of the girl or her circle remained. Robert returned, shocked to find me alive.
There's no girl like that here, he said, puzzled.
The community called it a miracle, but no one could explain it. I never saw her again. I finished my work, but the question haunted me. Was she real, a spirit, or just a fever dream? I never fell ill again. I left Willow Creek changed, carrying the mystery with me. Back in Maple Grove, my story left everyone silent, the rain now a gentle memory. Real or not, she gave me hope when I had none. Sometimes hope is the best medicine. I left everyone pondering the thin line between the world we know and the mysteries just beyond. The fire faded, and my story lingered. Some mysteries, I realized, are meant to remain unsolved.